Hey guys, this is CallanLoF, and I'm here with another episode of Mac Advice. And I'm gonna be talking about torsos. Toa torsos, bigger torsos. Yeah, Toa torsos. All these are Toa actually. But the main point I want to get out of this episode is that you can kind of do interesting things with torsos, even based off bigger pieces that are more difficult to typically use in either a torso or just in general. That's what I'm going to do. And so I guess I thought I would start with Krakua. Even though this one doesn't really use as many intricate pieces. I'm going to adjust the focus here. It was perfect a second ago, but anyway. First let's start off with, this is my often go-to waist design. Where you just use a Vaki torso and you put some hands on it. And so I guess you could say that this is also using bigger pieces although these pieces are incredibly useful in my opinion. I like this torso design. David does not. He thinks it looks like a diaper, but I don't think it looks like a diaper. I think it looks awesome. So, whatever. Yeah, everything's subjective. Anyway. So yeah, there's that. Vaki pieces are great. As far as last episode, I gave tons of information that everyone knows. So I'm going to give more information that everyone knows. Vaki pieces are great. So yeah. And by Vaki, I mean so, let's continue. So his torso is pretty basic, but that's what I want to talk about. That this is kind of an easier thing to do if you're getting right into trying to make custom torsos for the first time. You can, especially with someone who's a bit more lanky, if you're trying to go for a lankier design, just using kind of a hand connection with, and then connecting hands with Hordeconex. I'm sorry. Hordeconex. It's a good way of making arm connections and making a relatively thin looking mock. And so this torso is not very complicated, but it's kind of a thing it's sort of a basic one that'll help get you started, and I don't think it looks too bad. So yeah, I think I like that one a lot. Or a little bit, whatever. Anyway, so this one is the Strix torso. This one, my main point, it was to try and build a torso that uses the hockey technique sets from way back in the day. And I wanted to make it look like a good kind of big torso. He looks kind of like a bruiser, which is why it didn't make a lot of sense for me to make him kind of a nerdier character. But whatever. Yeah, so the point was here is that you want to work in all the important connections. You want him to have a posable waist if you can by having a hand socket there. And you also want him to have proper ball joint connection arms. And with a piece like this, it's more difficult to do than you might think. Even with two big connections right there, I ended up doing a more complicated thing where the pieces are angled up like this. Not so simple as like the hands on Krakua over there. He's got these pieces kind of holding them from flying all loosey-goosey apart, while these ones are just kind of keeping it connected to the torso because there's an axle keeping them together through there. Hopefully you can kind of tell all that and you can kind of understand what I'm saying, even though I'm talking Lego gibberish. So yeah, I also ended up kind of working these pieces in there, these panel pieces, and they aren't very obviously in there, except for in the front there. That's basically the main way you can tell they're there. But so they're kind of slapped on, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta do that. When you're mocking, you gotta mess around slapping pieces together, see what works. It's the only way to keep kind of improving appearances, really trying new different designs, and in that way you can kind of, come up with something that's kind of new and clever, potentially, or something that's not so new and clever and something that just looks good or what you need it to be. It doesn't need to be rocket science. So yeah, even though I'm kind of talking like it is rocket science, whatever. Also, fun fact, I was building this guy when I was watching Daredevil Season 1 for the first time. That was when I was inspired to do it. I'm like, this show's long, I'll watch it while I build mocks. Why not? And that was like, what, 2 years ago? Gee whiz. Time flies. And yeah, Bionicle Undercover wasn't even an idea when I built that mock. So the more you know. Let's move on to Callan. I wanted to basically just use this one to represent that, this is basically the exact same torso idea as the big Callan, but done slightly different. So I wanted to talk about that a little bit. In fact, in some ways, I think this one's a little better because while I used the Bow Rock limbs, which are still incredibly handy, to connect the arms. The little gap in there is a bit more obvious. Here, it looks a little bit better as far as a normal toe goes, but you have to take my word on that. Anyway, but the point of bringing this guy up as an example was that you can use Vaki pieces, the Vaki torso, as like just a main torso piece, and it's not too distracting. Is it incredibly obvious? Not really, but you can see the shaping there, and it looks kind of interesting. It looks better with the arms, of course, but, you know. And also you can take advantage of with pieces and using them around other pieces. For example, I used this, you know, Skrull armor in dark red that came on Explode, I believe, from Hero Factory, and it's on the back, and it looks pretty nice, I think. So yeah, you can kind of use pieces to help wrap up and create a smooth, little streamlined look. I wish I could talk, but I'm afraid I don't speak English. Just kidding, whatever. I really suck. So yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that one. This one also uses the Vaki piece, but I do a slightly different design there. It's pretty obvious. It's simple. There's a lot of times the waist is going to be really simple, and you can embrace that. And you can still get some cool posable designs out of it. So that's neat, I think. Maybe you don't think it's neat, and that's fine. So let's end with my not so magnum opus, but I still really like this torso. It is my Tahu 2015 torso. Originally I designed the back so that it had the Makuta mask on, and it looked kind of neat like that. Also the shoulders were very different, but it still doesn't really change what I did with the torso. Actually, it does change what I did with the torso, because I changed the torso later on. So I'm a liar. I'm a liar. Anyway. But yeah, as you can see, I used the big paw piece. And normally this would probably stick out a little bit. I think it looks pretty good here. Some people might still think it looks kind of awkward. But I'd say that some people who do use this as a torso probably make it stick out a little bit too far. Maybe it sticks out past the face, which this one does. But not so much that it's really awkward, I don't think. Either way, when I was designing this, I really wanted to get this almost kind of suit look. Sort of like, especially with the undercover idea, because that's why I redesigned it for the undercover a bit. And so I wanted to have almost kind of like a suit look here, and I wanted to make these pieces attach, but I kept trying to attach them to the torso and, you know, get everything streamlined and connected together, and it just was not working. I was getting really frustrated. And so basically the lesson to take away from this one is take advantage of all of your connection points, because it's not connected to the torso. It's all just connected to the one piece, and the torso here is completely separate. The only thing keeping it is the axle there, and this connects into the hole right there, the stick. So that's why it's double connected there. But what I did to connect these pieces, I just used some hands and some of those pieces, and it holds on really nicely. They're kind of posable, which isn't the greatest for stop motion, but it makes for a kind of cool looking chest appearance in my opinion. And I think it looks kind of neat, and a little bit of detail in there. So basically, yeah, you can... And then this one, this isn't as creative, but I ended up using these piece and to work it in to make kind of a gold. The pattern repeats on the back a little bit. So, you can kind of use bigger pieces to connect with all your stuff. Don't I sound really good when I'm unscripted? Yeah. But either way, I think you guys got the point. And I hope you enjoyed this video, this discussion. Hopefully this one was a little more helpful than last episode, as I mentioned earlier. The last episode was a lot of me stating basically facts that everyone knows about building. But hopefully you'll still get some insight here. And this torso design, some of these torso designs will give you ideas for making your own torsos. So yeah, I think I'll leave you guys with that. Hope you enjoyed, and start building. Do it. It's fun, I think. And yeah, I'm going to try to getting back to making Bionicle Undercover soon, too. So, that's a thing. Alright, I'll see you guys later. Have a good one.